continue on kind of with the B Corp theme, in that kind of Laura has kind of given an overview as to what the process is and what you have to kind of go through, and what you have to commit to, I guess. And then kind of Foong is coming at it from actually how product that they've got, not only being B Corp certified, but actually how that could kind of really benefit and actually add impact to kind of your score that you will be going through. So now it's kind of, this is not so much where we're going to hand over to Kim from Ella's Kitchen, and where Kim's going to talk at us for kind of 8 minutes or so. We're going to do this as a little bit of a Q&A, I guess. So we've had the pleasure of knowing Kim for quite some time now, both from a kind of a recruitment, from a disrupt perspective, and also from an includability perspective. And it's for us, it's about really making sure that people utilize the connections that includability are building up. And I can categorically say that Ella's Kitchen have absolutely taken full advantage of every single thing that we offer, which is amazing. So it's going to it made sense to have a conversation, I guess. So Kim, do you want to just do a very quick introduction into yourself, and then we'll get to the Q&A?
Yeah, so my role at Ella's is make people happy, but in grown-up language, I'm the HR manager. So I've been at Ella's now for 5 years, and we are a really proud B Corp. I actually hadn't heard of B Corp before I joined Ella's, and I would definitely say it's kind of had a massive impact on my life. And seeing how it impacts other people, like just even in that breakout room, like literally inspiring each other to do better and become a B Corp is just, it's amazing. So yeah, I mean, I don't think I don't want to leave Ella's, but I would never want to work for a company that isn't a B Corp. It's definitely really, really important to me. And same with kind of, partnering up with includability, like the power of community is huge. So yeah, that's a little bit
amazing. And actually, I mean, we're not even going to touch upon in the questions that kind of we put together, Kim, but I think what Ella's do really well is incorporate the importance of being a B Corp into the recruitment process. And so that kind of candidates are aware of it, and actually it's making sure that those candidates are understanding and believing and actually want to be part of it to kind of help make that progress. So, but we're not going to touch upon that today. What we are going to start with, though, is kind of tell us why being a B Corp is really important to Ella's Kitchen.
I think for me, it provides us with a really great framework. It means that we're accountable for the things that we're doing. We were talking with Paula, she was saying kind of, aligns with our values, like it really does that as well. So, thinking about what we are as a business, what our purpose is, what our mission is, and it just links so well with the B Corp process. But I think for us, we are due to recertify next year. And there's always room to improve with the points make prizes system. So we're definitely looking at increasing our score every time we recertify. So it continues to make us accountable for the types of things that we want to do. So we are now looking at kind of where we were at last time, and the things that we can get involved with to improve our score. So it's always on our minds. And it's really, really important to kind of get as many people involved in the journey as well.
And just actually, this is slightly off kilter, but knowing the process, having gone through it a couple of times and everything that you have to do, when you're heading into recertification, is that something that you work on continually over kind of the 3 years? Do you revisit every 3-6 months, or is it you get to like month 34 and you're like, oh no, now we need to do everything again?
Yeah, no, it slots in with kind of our operating plan each year. So each team, and that's why it's so important to get everyone involved. We essentially download the report in the Excel format and we sort of rag it. So kind of the things that we know are really easy to improve, the things that maybe will cost a little bit more, so that might need to go into next year's budget, or we might need additional resource to be able to fulfill that increase in score, or something might just not be relevant to us at all.
And actually also your leadership team have an incredible innate passion for doing it, don't they?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, absolutely. Mark used to be on the board at B Lab. Yeah, the leadership team bang the drum all the time. We talk about our purpose and our values at Ella's, but we also talk about B Corp just as much as them. Like it genuinely is part of us, part of working at Ella's.
And actually, well, the next question, which again we'll come on to in a second, I think the importance of legacy, actually, to make sure that it's not just on one person. And if that person was to leave an organization, then actually things get forgotten, where it's an absolute team effort to know everything that you can do. Why is it important? How do we instill and make sure that if we were to cut the business in half, all of those values are there and everyone understands them and everyone can articulate why they're so important. So how do you engage the team at Ella's Kitchen to be engaged in that kind of that B Corp process?
Yeah, I mean, it's the most important part of the process. And you can do this however big or small you are, really. It's having a really, a clear project group that are going to be looking after that. And it shouldn't just land on one person. Like, it is a lot of work, but it is all totally manageable. So it's really about kind of splitting up a bit of a project group, getting to grips with who's passionate about what. Someone might work in marketing, but they're really, really passionate about carbon footprint, and you might not necessarily know them. So really trying to find out kind of who's passionate about what, where people's strengths lie, what they really want to get involved with, and looking at kind of their day-to-day responsibility. So for example, our operations team, they talk to our suppliers, they talk to our farmers, they talk to the factories. So they're really, really key with that section of the assessment. Obviously, my team and my role will be looking at kind of ED&I, kind of how we're operating our office environment. So it's really utilising as many people as possible and getting people involved. I don't think necessarily everyone will know how they can have an impact. Everyone can, and everyone can have kind of a positive outcome of it. So it's really about kind of asking as many people to get involved in the process and splitting the assessment up, and giving sort of each department, each team or person a level of responsibility. And I think for those that necessarily aren't involved, just making sure that throughout the assessment, and when you go to certify, that you're engaging the whole business, so you're updating everyone at the company, so that they know where we're at. Be really honest as well. So there'll be things that we think, oh, we've not really scored that well on, or this is where we really want to improve. Be super transparent, because you may well touch on someone that thinks, well, actually, we could potentially do that, or maybe we don't need to focus on that for a minute, and that's okay. That's not what we need to be focusing on. So make sure that, super accountable, really honest and transparent, and making sure everyone knows kind of where we are at in the process. And celebrate as well. When you do certify or when you're pending, like, talk about it, shout about it, have a little party, talk about it on LinkedIn, whatever it is. Like, it's something to be really, really proud of. We talk a lot. We've recently done our engagement survey, and one of the most important things to our employees is being proud of where they work. And they do. So a lot of that is aligned with kind of being a B Corp. So yeah, celebrate it.
And also, I think the importance of being transparent is, if you're not doing something or you could be doing something better, I think it's so important as a business, because the moment you're trying to highlight or kind of wash over, actually, we're doing this incredibly, at some point it's going to come to light that perhaps you're not doing it. So it's better to own it and then put a plan in place and communicate that effectively, than to say, oh, we're brilliant at everything, and then you're not.
Yeah, I mean, we weren't a living wage employer. Like, we hadn't gone through that process. And, we were like, oh, shit, we need to do that. And if we hadn't have gone through that process, maybe we wouldn't have done that. So, it's really important to be kind of transparent with it.
And there are some incredible top tips. Dave's going to come on in a bit, actually, and kind of talk about some of those top tips that you can do as an organization that, not necessarily kind of the quick wins, but certainly the things that can make you a better business that take up a bit less time as well. So I guess it's kind of, can you tell us about everything that we want to do is celebrate the connections? And I mentioned at the very beginning about the fact that you've not been kind of backward in coming forward about kind of having introductions made, but the connections that you have made and that you have developed, the impact they might have had at Ellis.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's again that power of community, isn't it? I mean, the first point I'd like to make is we utilise the B Corp community as a network. We've got an amazing mentor scheme that we initially rolled out with Pucker, and we've now got others. We've got Lily's Kitchen, we've got Cook on board, and we're looking to expand that network. So right through from kind of a mentor and mentee relationship, we're already seeing that power of community. And then with includability, it's been amazing. Like, I absolutely loved going through the certification with you guys. It was really enjoyable. It made me really, like, it reinstated that kind of pride in the type of employer that we are. But yeah, I mean, going on the ESGs and meeting some really, really inspirational guest speakers. We have reached out. We've got a great group of diversity and inclusion allies. So every few months, we kind of focus on really important topics that we want to discuss at work. And we've used that includability network to invite some other ambassadors over to our offices, which is amazing. So we had Alex Manners most recently talking about neurodiversity. We've had Saskia in Pride Month. So we've had some amazing guest speakers, and it is just through kind of being introduced to these people via includability and these kind of platforms. So it's really given us a great insight into, you know, the types of things that we want to roll out at Ella's Kitchen. And for us, kind of the ED&I route is all about educating ourselves, and who better to do that with than people that are living and breathing those experiences. So for us, it's had a huge impact. We've been able to kind of educate ourselves, raise awareness on really important topics. So yeah, it's been amazing.
I love it. And something you mentioned there about, it kind of reiterates sometimes the good stuff that's being done. I think when certainly going through, you know, we've got quite a few now includability community employers, and it doesn't matter whether an organization is ridiculously large or whether they're, you know, a 10-person organization. There is so much good stuff that's done that gets forgotten about, or that gets overlooked, because until you start kind of reassessing and start looking, actually, then you celebrate those things that you're doing, that you're already doing, and then it's about kind of making that progress. And so many people that go through it go, oh, we do quite a lot of stuff already, actually. And I think it's okay to acknowledge that you're doing some good stuff, because we all have to do way more, much better, but let's at least celebrate what we are doing, right? So I guess, is there anything else that you would like to kind of add? I think we've kind of had our kind of 8 minutes or so, but it's incredible to have you in the community. The actual fact that you are proactive is really, really important, because this for us isn't about getting names on that don't use it. It's about trying to get people that are actually going to benefit from it. We'd rather have less people more active than the other way around. So is there anything else that you would like to kind of add, just kind of, other than obviously, I guess, you're more than open to people reaching out to you and engaging and asking and, you know, collaborating, right?
Yeah, totally. More than happy for people to come through to us. I mean, yeah, as I said, we were talking in a breakout room, like more and more people are using communities and platforms like this. So really just thinking about who your suppliers are, who you're getting in to run events or talks, and I think use the B Corp community, use the includability community, because you're doing the right thing, you know, knowing that you're utilizing the right resources in the right way is really, really important. And sharing as well, you know, it's not just there for you you're like, yeah, tick that box, that's brilliant. It's about kind of being open to people approaching you and asking you how you can do better, and just sharing those best practices. So yeah, sharing is caring.
It is, and that is a beautiful point. Before we then hand over to Dave, I think that's an incredible point, is that sharing is, we're all doing incredible work in probably very different areas, but trying to achieve the same end goal. So please do share your knowledge. We're not asking people to or companies to share their innermost secrets. That's kind of their brand identity. We're just saying, if you're on a mission to make your workplace as equitable as it could be, as sustainable as it can be, why on earth would you not share that with other people? Because it doesn't always have to cost a huge amount of money. Actually, just taking the time to speak to people, to ask, to listen, to engage, can actually make a massive, massive difference. So I guess, and Kim, thank you ever so much for kind of all your time, for being part of it, for taking the time this morning, and for continuing to do incredible work. And we'll definitely get a webinar organised, because I would love to hear about that mentor scheme. So maybe we kind of get you, Pucker, Lydia's Kitchen, Cook, already kind of part of Includability, to kind of come on and talk about what that means and how it works, so that we can perhaps inspire and empower other people.